I'm J Mod. This is Gilla, and this is ManuFractured Reality. This is our very first broadcast. So thanks so much for joining us. We got all the little technical stuff worked out. We're streaming on YouTube, and we're looking to build some more platforms pretty soon. So keep in for updates. But hey, thanks for being here.
Martin Madrid,
James Martin.
Gilla, J Mod.
So this show today, we're just going to be introducing ourselves and talking about how we came up with this whole thing. Martin and I met, about 3 weeks ago, man?
Something like that in the basement of my brother's, in his studio.
Yeah, his brother is
home
Eric from ManTools, who's been nice enough to help us get this whole show started. He's engineering this thing for us. So he invited me over one night to hang out with Marty, and then we started spitballing and rapping about things that we feel like help us think about life a little bit better and expand our I don't know, our grasp on the universe, maybe in a lot of ways.
Right? Yeah. Kind of some mental shifts to be made.
For sure.
To be able to kind of wrap your head around some things that reality and duality have to offer.
And the power that you have over those things too. Like so many people, we felt like, or we've discussed how we feel like sometimes people just become like reflexive and reactive to the things that are going on around them, and don't realize that they've got the power to control that stuff and make your own reality what you need it to be. All the answers for all the things that you want to do with yourself in your life, and you've already got all of those answers. You just need to use them, right?
Absolutely. Everything is programmable, and just unfortunately we tend to follow the mainstream flow of societal norms and kind of fall victim to the popularity contest that is life.
Yeah, whenever instead you should just be happy with who you are, right?
And we tend to program ourselves in some ways that kind of limit our potential, capabilities, and so much more.
And so that's some of the stuff that we want to talk about, ways to break that down.
To break free from those chains, yes. To kind of change the chains, because we will kind of always be clinging to, as we are humans, we
right.
cling to things and we kind of hold on to them for a lot of different reasons, but they kind of tend to either, there's always a little bit of an elastic band aspect to things.
That pulls you back, right?
Pulls you back, or kind of lets you shoot yourself forward into your own future.
And that's the important thing that I think people need to understand is like
right.
you're gonna get pulled back a little bit. But I saw this really neat infographic that someone drew today, and it was like about having a bad day, right? And so it was like this downturn. And then the picture zoomed out, and it was this really nice chart of how all the things that have been good and these little downturns that you have in life. And you got to remember, you need to learn as much as you can moving forward, and then reflect on those things whenever you feel like you're being pulled back, right?
And it's all NLP, neuro-linguistics programming, because what we reflect on typically is we're creatures of habit. So it's simple to kind of get caught up in a habit of negative thinking and kind of just,
I don't know, just let yourself fall victim to like all of those reoccurring thoughts instead of trying to move forward into the things that you know are better, that you've already got the answers for. You know how to move forward, right?
Recreating yesterday.
Right.
In some ways that are just the worst case scenario.
Right, and so how do we learn how to break these cycles? And instead of letting that stuff pull us back, we learn and we grow and we move forward in the things that we do know. One of the things that you talked about whenever that first night we met, and this first night we met, like I just knew that this was my friend's brother, and I felt like I was going to get along with him. So I walked in the room and sit down, and here this guy is. About 3 hours later, I said, I would love to keep doing this, man, but I got to go home and get some sleep. I got work in the morning, you know?
Right.
And
we just kept on going.
it was a rap session for sure, man. One of those things that you brought up was you write books, and
Absolutely.
you're working on a few books that are based on reprogramming your subconscious and trying to think of new ways to think of things and reflect on things to grow and be better, right? Kind of what we want to help you guys learn in this show. And one of those things that you talked about was the fog of domestic violence. And so I think a lot of people, when they hear the term domestic violence, they think about, you know, couples beating each other up, right? And that's not necessarily the full extent of it. The fog
That's
of
when it
domestic
got
violence,
too far, right?
that's when it got too far. So yeah, exactly. So the fog of domestic violence is even the things that you do to yourself that beat yourself down every day, right?
Absolutely.
Not just things that you're physically doing to someone else.
Kind of the fog of cognitivity, the fog of domestic violence is a book that I'm almost done with now.
Okay.
And the book I wrote about reprogramming your subconscious is already on Amazon and available. But
Oh, that's cool.
the fog of domestic violence is kind of just self-talk that is negative self-talk that is kind of doubt, and it kind of ends up turning into a habit that is self-abuse
Right.
that eventually forms into that spilling over onto someone else in verbal abuse. And there's the steps that it'll take, but domestic violence is so it's such a touchy trigger word that we all have our own understandings and labels
Perceptions of what it is. Right, yeah.
that for the most part, like you said earlier, as we think of domestic violence, it's only the physical violence.
Right.
Where it went too far and you've only got
But I mean,
regrets, right?
but there's so I think that there's a lot more subtle things that happen that you do to yourself that you just kind of you become complacent to your situation, become complacent to the surroundings, and then these things just kind of let you be a passerby in the stuff that's going on, and that's a form of self-abuse. That's a form of domestic violence on yourself right there. So becoming more of a participant in your life instead of a passenger. You know what I mean? These are important things for us to learn how to grasp and use. And then this leads into something that I believe in very firmly, is that you are 100% responsible for your own existence in every way, right?
Absolutely.
You control what's going on around you and the realities that you're in. So why not make a conscious effort to move forward and make that a better existence for yourself? It's easy to do. You just got to set your head to it, right?
I'm still, from the beginning of where you started, I'm still kind of drawn back to what Wayne Dyer said when he mentions in the 10 steps or solid aspects of how to look at life, right? You can't give away something you don't have.
Okay.
So as you're just consuming negativity and doubt and that's the only thoughts that you're accessing from infinite intelligence.
So how do we shift that? How do we learn how to tap into those things that are a little bit more beautiful? You know what I mean? Like the things that light up our day a little bit more. So one of my routines through the day is like my lunchtime. You know, I really take that as a moment to reset the whole day. And I'll, or whenever I get home from work, the first thing I do as soon as I get home from work is I take a shower. And that helps me just reset my whole day. But there's little things that you can do throughout the day that really help you reset if you need to as you go. And then eventually you learn how to get to a point where you don't need to reset anymore, right?
Right. Well, we're all individuals, so we all have different individual triggers and different individual situations, different individual mentalities, frameworks, and are on different steps along the path, right? So we're all going to have different pointers that help us get there and triggers along the way that kind of rip us back out of that calm space of either a mental cave of comfort or
Right. Yeah.
a mental cave of assumed attack. And following suit with the popularity contest that is life and the societal norms set in place, we're always kind of, the grass is greener on the other side. We're always kind of going after.
But you've already got the green grass, man.
Absolutely.
Like, you're already on the green grass. You just
Absolutely.
need to look down and see it. You know what I mean? And the path is yours to build. So I've fallen victim to where I come. Man, that's just where I come from. That's something that I had to deal with whenever I left a small town in Mississippi, and a lot of what I grew up around was just, you know, that's just where you grow up. Those are just the things you do. But then I had the opportunity to leave, and I moved to Arizona, and then I moved all over, and I've seen a few places around the U.S. and stuff like that, and got to experience some stuff outside of my hometown. I love my hometown. Don't get me wrong. But I know too many people personally who say, oh, well, that's just where I grew up, and this is just, you know, my lot in life or something like that. And those things aren't true at all. You're just limiting yourself right there. You're just saying, if this is just where I am, and this is just the way it's going to be, and this is just the way it has to be, you're just setting limitations on yourself right there. Because one thing that you verbalized very well to me one of the last times we spoke was that you build all these plans in your head, right? And you come up with these ideas of things that you want to do, and then it gets to this point where you have this great idea. It's the greatest thing ever. It's like, there's no way this can fail. I've got all the answers, right? And then you start seeing all the ways it'll fail, and then you let it go, or you see where you're at in your present state, and you think, oh, that's too far for me to reach. When in reality, like you said the other day, you've already done all of those steps in your own head. You've already answered all of those questions in your own head. You've already done it. If your brain thinks you're doing it, you're actually doing it.
We're hardwired to keep ourselves safe. So we're always going to kind of like roll it around, and it gets associated with procrastination, right? Putting it off. And all that would be trying to figure out an easier route of getting to that same outcome, that same goal, in a less energy expending manner, right?
Well, I mean, wouldn't it be more important to learn how to refocus that energy, though? Like, because it's still going to take the same amount of energy, but wouldn't you just... I'm on the side of things to say it's going to take the same amount of energy to do it, but you can spend all that energy being sad and saying that you're not going to get there and doubting yourself or something like that, or you can redirect and reaffirm that energy into yourself and telling yourself that I can do this. Yeah, this is a big step, or this is a hiccup, or this is a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be, maybe, like trying to launch a podcast. This is really not that easy.
Definitely.
Yeah,
right.
this is a tough thing, but instead of saying, oh man.
Without man tools and the help.
Right, thanks.
Help.
We did not do this ourselves. There were so many people
Right.
involved in this to just get it off the ground, and I didn't realize what it took to
And
sit
all the
here
listeners,
and do this.
right?
Yeah.
Because we're doing this with and for you guys, and everything that we'll be talking about and conversing will kind of shape where we go and how far we take it.
And we would love it if you guys could chime in. Like, I've got my phone in my pocket, so if you're my friend on Facebook or something like that, or you got my number, you can text me. I've got my laptop in front of me here too. So if there's something we say that you like or want to or don't like, that'd be good. Or want to ask questions about, or anything like that, or maybe a topic that you'd like to throw at us and see how we handle it. Whatever, we're good with that. So and as the show grows, I've got a few ideas for some segments, man.
Absolutely, and we are going to just keep on unfolding the fractured reality in which we share, because it is a dream within a dream
Somebody just messaged me.
that solidifies in a lot of different ways. And the game of forgetting, or the forgetting to remember, remembering that you forgot.
Oh, Zach says, can we turn up our mics? Where'd the engineer go? Or does it help if I just get closer to my mic, Zach? Does it help anyway?
Can we
Is it
talk
working?
towards it better?
Yeah? I don't know. Yeah. Wait, these are live, or is that the mic? This is live, right?
These are live.
Yeah,
yes.
these are good.
Yeah, these are.
Okay. Our engineer took a beer break, so I don't know where.
Sorry about that, but we'll try and
We'll work on it. Okay. This is an exciting new thing. So Marty, what sparked this whole? Because you've told me before that you were working at you were harvesting weed, man. You were growing weed plants, and you started thinking about things a little bit more, and this kind of brought you to a new turning point in your life.
So that goes way back.
Up?
That takes it quite a bit back, farther than my experience stepping through the fog of domestic violence.
Okay.
But it really was what started me off caring about my health and myself again. Learning about how to provide for a plant and horticulture.
Okay.
That taking the initiative to schedule and record
Okay.
everything. So, well, it's the same with
Well,
our body.
I'm sure that's not like something you can just be passive about. Like to get a good plant, to get a good in anything, any kind of horticulture like that. I mean, I'm not a gardener. I've probably got a black thumb if I tried to. I did try to grow a pot plant once, and it wasn't that great. But so doing it in such a more regimented way, prescribed way.
Right. Well, like as you first begin to start trying and dabbling with it, everyone's gonna go. You're always gonna have, with no matter what it is,
Right.
kind of the best tool we'll have is the third person, right? So we can kind of separate and step outside of anything. But there's always going to be the barely beginnings, your messy middle, and then to find your performing art.
To find your groove.
To find your groove,
gig,
right?
What's your gig?
You're going to have to step through the fear of even starting.
Yeah.
Because of, well, basically because of your mirror neurons and
It's
the fact that
the
are
fear of success, right?
equal. You can do anything that anyone else can do.
Absolutely.
You have the same body and brain and capabilities as anyone before, if not more so, because of where we are at now.
Yeah, for sure.
In our historical
So
process.
it's not just you start growing a plant, you start and
There
whatever your
are,
thing is, it's committing to that groove and staying with it, right?
8 different organs in the brain that are packed full of mirror neurons, and your mirror neurons, right? In this aspect, it is the only way or even reason that we're able to sell acrobatical performances. Right?
What do you mean?
Talk about your mirror neurons allow you to feel what the performer is feeling.
Gotcha.
To
right.
sit.
Okay.
You pay for the whole seat, and all you
need
need is the edge.
Right. Okay.
And you are right. It gives you the symptoms. It releases chemicals and
makes you feel
emotions
like you're on the flying trapeze. Yeah.
As if you were the one taking the risks, right? So your mirror neurons can be good and bad due to the fact that you are capable of, but keeping yourself from beginning will be a huge egoic snap.
So I think the big pushback that even I have to deal with on a lot of the projects that I want to do and want to get started and things like that is like I gotta go to work in the morning, man. You know what I mean? Like so as much as I would love to be a world touring drummer right now, like I got a car note to pay. So like I know that the ability is within me to do it, but there's so many barriers that are just like real life, like
so many steps,
things, like real
so
life
many
things,
steps
man.
in between that we kind of get ourselves since we've dealt with reality and felt the old model of cause and effect for so long that something in the exterior stimulation world of stimulation
Gotcha.
happens, then we feel something, then we get to get somewhere.
Well, we need the reward. We need to hit a dopamine,
That
right?
kind
Like,
of-
we need to
that
see
kind
the
of-
success.
That kind of separation and focal points.
Right.
Wherever we put our focus on kind of closes the door to the possibilities of limitless capabilities,
Well,
right?
and so I think this is a symptom of. I think this would just be like a lot of this is a symptom of our times in a lot of ways too, because we can get anything that we want like right now. Like I could get on my phone like right now.
We live in a very
and
fanatic
order a pizza, and I could get on my phone right now and do whatever I want, or
Time
my computer. Or, yeah, it's like right now I can get it. So,
everything now.
So whenever I wake up in the morning and this YouTube stream doesn't have a million hits overnight, and you know what I mean, or the first time we catch a couple of negative reviews, or whatever, like I'm not saying this about me, but I'm saying these are the things
So
that it doesn't give
what
us the
stops
dopamine,
you up, right?
right? Yeah.
Right.
So how do you redirect that energy instead of saying, "Man, they
that
beat me"?
focal point, right?
Right.
The very first thing is to be aware of it, to find the information and kind of like be exposed to, and the light be shined on the dark.
Gotcha. It's
Right.
not that hard once you actually do it, right?
But our focal point in repeating yesterday in the worst case scenario is so strange how it happens to everyone, and you'll witness this. Like you'll go through your day, and predominantly it's an awesome day. Things aren't going wrong, but then something, especially in the beginning of the day, is when you create you either give up your power to create the day that you're going to live,
Yeah.
or you write it down like Pharaoh would write it down. So let it be written, so let it be done.
So there are like little things that I do in the morning that just help reassure me that I'm going, that like it's a new dawn, it's a new day, man. Like everything that went down yesterday, unless it's on paper somewhere and I have to deal with that today, like that, everything about yesterday is gone. I get up in the morning, I brush my teeth, put on a fresh pair of socks, I pack my lunch bag, and I roll out to work, and it doesn't matter what sideways shit somebody said to me yesterday at work. It doesn't matter how shitty this customer was or anything like that. It doesn't matter because it's a new day. Whenever I get there and I pour my first cup of coffee in the morning and I log in, it's game on from the start.
And all of this is still kind of looking at it through that same old filter instead of looking at it through a filter of what am I supposed to learn from reality as it's unfolding, instead of my opinions being placed on top of what actually happened.
So what's the lesson of
And
the day?
kind of, not even the day, of like
Well,
every
right.
single step of the way. You can
yeah.
kind of really like feel this shift of, and I know it's kind of cliche of adding some songs and things, but it's time to turn around.
And so,
Bright
as
eyes.
we talk about this, I think you make a good point when you say you're looking at it through the old filter, right? So as we talk about this, I'm kind of having this realization or whatever. Let's put it into a good perspective. Is I am talking about like my day-to-day function and
Absolutely.
how I handle that day.
Hit the reset button for the next day.
Right, exactly. So how do we get to a place where we can back up and apply, instead of saying the lesson I learned from this 15-minute event that I experienced is very important, right? But how do you get the perspective on what you learned for your whole life and learn how to turn that around, instead of just saying like this is where I'm at and this is what it is for me and this is just my lot in life. You know what I mean?
So I would. Oh man, that's
Right. That's
like,
something I want to like help us learn. You know, because it's too
160,000 words
right.
to answer this.
Yeah,
This is in a class, an online course that I've got designed that I need to finish and video and make the videotape recordings for. It's pretty much written up and all that, but really, let's jump ahead through all that
Get
for now,
past
and kind of like just get into into taking a big old bite of life, right? really in that morning when you create your day,
Yeah.
how you create your day is another aspect. So like some of the most profound experiences and lessons learned were during my spiritual awakening.
Hey, our engineer's back.
A little bit afterwards.
Hey, we had a request online for a little bit more microphone volume. Sorry, Marty, I don't mean to cut you off, bud. Sorry. But just a pinch more microphone volume.
You kind of begin the day asking some of the questions and starting the symphony leader in the right way, starting your frontal lobe kind of correctly instead of just letting the day unfold.
Man, I didn't sleep good last night. My back hurts. Holy shit! I don't want to go to work today. Oh man, fuck this day. No, that's not right. It's a brand new day. Fuck that shit. Let's go, right?
Nothing is good nor bad until you name it.
There we go.
And it does take some doing to wake up and feel yourself on the razor's edge. I've got something written up about that as well. There for quite a while, I was a roofer like my father before me, so unfolding all of these little sides of domestic violence that are almost invisible, that we like kind of force ourselves and others into, are really so simple that it really only ends up being self-abuse. You'll be able to go home and go to bed and like sleep it off if I throw a little temper tantrum and I revert to my 13-year-old self, because that's all that's happening. Is there's an assumed attack coming and my defense mechanisms fly up, so I block myself inside of a little wall built and surround myself with mirrors. The mirror reflection of each other is in the self. So we're back a full circle again when you were thinking in the morning about like how yesterday those guys did what they did and this was actually part of your subconscious coming out in another person, kind of testing yourself. Kind of asking you if you want reality to be this rough on you, if you want these complications, so you still want reality to show itself to you in these ways.
So we went down this mirrors rabbit hole a while ago, and there's really good stuff in there that I would like for us to unpack during one episode of this show, because that's definitely
probably going to be quite a few episodes.
Yeah, that's
but
going to be some section stuff there. We'll be
coming back a full circle, around and around again.
Hey, Twisted Apes, that's cool that we're actually broadcasting live out into the. I don't know if everybody's listening, but hey, man,
in the bar, everybody's listening. Hey guys, everyone on the my page. Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hey guys.
Exciting.
It is. It's pretty cool. So I brought a few talking points from some of the stuff that we had kind of broken into before. Let's see what we got here real quick. Because, oh yeah, man, how do we embrace success? How do we break down the walls of fear? This was the mirrors rabbit hole that we went down there. So I read this really cool book a couple of years ago, right? And it talked about this guy that went on an adventure to try to find these lessons that were outlawed and stuff like that, right? And so, and one of those lessons that this guy learned, he tells that everyone that you meet them for a reason, right? You meet everybody in life for a reason, and they're there to teach you a lesson.
We're all teachers
but you're there to teach them a lesson too,
from
right?
each other.
Exactly. And you have to learn how to accept that message that someone's sending you, and you also have to learn, like, you don't necessarily need to learn what your message is to give to them. They'll get it on their own. But that sort of thing, and learning and embracing every little encounter in life for what it is. You know what I mean? It's a lesson. It's something that you need to learn and move through and move forward with. And instead of letting that throw your whole existence off, man. You need to be at peace with like where. Yeah, I know where I'm at, man. And so whatever that guy, said to me that triggered me, or whatever that person said to me that lifted me up, man. I tell you one time. So I'm an atheist. I don't believe in theology, religion, or anything like that, right? But there was this I was going through this really, really dark time.
And I believe in every religion. I believe in
like all of them.
Everything. Every religion says the same thing.
There's something
different,
right
in a different connotation or context. That
everything
is interpretation.
Because we'll run down that one. Let me finish my story. Okay, so I was going through a really dark time, and I was just in line at the grocery store. Okay, just buying some shit, like just getting through another little bit of my day or whatever. Didn't say anything to anybody, just minding my own business. And this lady comes around. I said, "Excuse me," as she went by, just excusing myself out of her path. And she turns and she looks at me and she goes, "Honey, everything's going to be okay. God's got a plan for everybody." And I'm not a Christian, but that made me cry. I was like, isn't that the sweetest damn thing that somebody could just randomly say to a stranger and had no idea that I was going through such a dark, tough time, to just throw out a message of positivity to somebody at complete random. And there's so many different ways that somebody could have accepted that. Like, somebody could have said, well, there is no God, or whatever, or thank you, or whatever. But it made me cry.
Blocks, right? We throw up all the hurdles that we need to run into because of all the lives that you've had past previous to this experience.
Yeah.
The last life that you had, you were probably someone very horrible to be able to be someone immaculate and as perfect as we are now. Just due to, just watching domestic violences in humanity's experiential past. The Middle Ages, we used to chop each other up and all these different things, and coming to terms with the persona and the ego and all this stuff.
Pulling from another read that I had recently, it was trying to offer some different perspective on like where you're at in life and stuff like that. And one of those perspectives that it gives was, instead of just looking at like, oh, I'm 30 something years old or whatever, and just looking at where you're at in your life right now, like try to expand the picture a little bit and look at where your life is at in the whole life of like existence, you know what I mean? And like, what are the opportunities around you that are provided for you, and what are the situations around you that are provided for you that are new and exciting and something that you haven't? And it really, instead of thinking about your day-to-day pinpoint perspective on life, you back out and you look at the whole picture of life and what you mean to that. You know what I mean? And then focus in on what it means and what you want to contribute to that life. And
our life purposes.
What do you want to do with
that's the same
your
thing
place?
that's echoing as our life purposes.
Yeah,
our life
where are you going to go with this? What
our
do you
life's
got, man? What are you going to do with this?
Because I wouldn't say that there's a life purpose. What's the meaning of life? The meaning of life is to enjoy this experience with each other and kind of better everything that you touch. You can either destroy it or make it better. And it's all how you say things and how you talk to yourself, what you listen to, all these things that really build those walls that we have created in front of ourselves, because you've already unfolded reality. So you've already figured everything else out before.
You have. You know it. But here's the problem.
You know everything.
Here's what I think. Okay, look, I'm a savage asshole, if you didn't know that. But it's endearing in a lot of ways. And so I do embrace all of these different thought processes where it's really up to you to.
You've got to roll them around. Sure.
I embrace these 100%. This is how I live my life, and how I try to function every day in my own mind, in my own existence. Is just trying to remember to be positive and go with it. But my dude, the world's harsh as fuck, and
if you focus on that.
Right.
If you see
and
that
so
and
I'm trying to play
give it feed, give it energy.
Well, I'm trying to play the devil's advocate here. here, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to play the other side of the field here where, like, I told you, dude, I got to get up and go to work in the morning. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like,
I've been told by quite a few girlfriends or friends who are females that I've explained most of all this stuff to, that it's really hard talking to me because I've got to kind of wake up and live reality again.
yeah, well, yeah, you got to come back in, man.
Because we all kind of have our own way of looking at life and shape our own realities.
Right.
So I kind of live in a dream world to some people, and from my standpoint, they're living in a dream world too, and we're kind of all just turned heaven into purgatory, kind of turned the dream within a dream that we're sharing into a nightmare.
So I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about the show, and about how we had our first broadcast coming up, and you know, they were asking me what I thought the dynamic of the whole situation was going to be, and because we haven't talked many times, okay, but when we do talk, we talk a lot, right? So, and we'll talk for hours at a time whenever we do, but we don't do it very often. So my friend was asking me what I thought the dynamic of the show was going to be, and here's the thing, Maury. I love your perspectives on life and your perspectives on things, and I think you've got some really great ideas, and I think that's what's going to make this thing work. And I try to embrace a lot of those ideas independently on my own before I even met you, but I think I'm a little more technical than you are, and you are a little bit more metaphysical, spiritual than I am about these things, man. So, because I like to apply these to the machine.
I like it. I love it because this is only one way of expressing and explaining what I'm talking about.
Right.
So, as we want to, if you want to talk about terms in
like, how do we use this?
Pointers. Everything is pointers. Everything will be a pointer for you that'll either keep you from there or get you to there. So this is why I love Joe Dispenza and neuroscience.
So I think a lot of the stuff, like a lot of the subjects that you and I tend to breach on, though, can get really spacey, man. So like, I think finding a way to make that like more digestible, practical to the everyday application. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm a technician, man. I got to be able to put my hands on. I'm very tactile. So like, even though these thought processes and things that I use and that you use to try to make our realities more our own, right? We still are driving after two completely different things, dude. Like my lane and your lane just happen to be running right beside each other for a minute, but I think that's great. But it works for everybody this way, not just you and me. We're all on this path. We're all building our own life.
We're all the same but different.
Right. So so let's break this stuff down and make it a little bit more
with all these conundrums and things.
Right. How do we make this more practical and tactile instead of we can smoke a
bunch
of weed and talk about the
First off, I would say sure you can, and with that I bring it back to neuroscience. There's an understanding in neuroscience, and it is stated as such, that there's a receptor in the brain for any chemical, foreign or man-made. That means the body creates it.
Okay.
I would add my own excerpt. Through the slew of emotional cocktails in which we mix and sip, especially during moments of assumed trauma and stress, where that cocktail turns into jungle
we're
juice.
The victim, and this is what we need to get off.
All of the emotions.
Come at me.
Because our dreams, they bring back memories, of everything we've been through. And those are the lyrics of that pop song. But it is the youth who have named what being thrown is, and throwing your life away. Being thrown.
So is it more important then for us to try to is it more important for us to try to change the things that we're doing because people don't really change, or is it more important
we
for
all
us
change segmentively,
pieces of us change,
and completely, because once you step through the fog of domestic violence, you will never look back.
Man, it's so, and I see this, right? I think there are a lot of people out there who already have these ideas on their own, but they're just afraid to grab a hold, or they don't realize them. They're complacent to them. So you already do your own
We
thing.
share thoughts.
I mean,
We
there's
are
plenty
of
of
one
people
mind.
who come home in the afternoon and
We
do
are of
yoga,
one
or
mind.
get up in the morning,
So-
and I promise I'm going to have
So
2
we kind of
waffles and
trade
what's up?
emotions. 10
10
minutes. We
minutes.
kind of trade emotions like baseball cards, like
Yeah.
football cards or basketball cards, and kind of just shift them around, holding on to the ones, clinging to the ones that kind of hold true to the residual image that you have a hold of right now today.
Okay.
And that can vary depending on our moods and
It's
tendencies.
the hit that you want, man.
And.
It's the drugs that you're addicted to. How do you, you know? So I think it's going to be important for us to dive into these topics and expose ways. I think one of the segments that I want to add to the show as this grows is that we find stories and testimonials of people who, who took a big step or a big risk in some way and succeeded, and try to digest and break down like what it takes to actually just roll with something like that, you know. And a lot of times it happens by accident because people are so genuine and just want to do something good with their life, and whatever that focus of something good is, they just manifest it on their own and they just walk right into it. And holy shit, these guys are fucking rock stars. But some other people need to realize that they already have these momentums and what it takes to get there and the hurdles. Nobody ever made, you know, as far as celebrity, we'll talk about the ego as well.
Well,
but as far as celebritized or the big inventors or anything like that, you know what I mean? Like the big CEOs, none of these guys ever got anywhere easy. Some of them did.
It's all easy, though. It's all easy, though. The hardest thing is taking that step and allowing yourself to feel success in every step because of how we've associated and consumed dopamine.
Yeah.
How we've started liking, you start doing something that you enjoy.
What gives me my hit?
You enjoy what you're doing for a duration.
And who gives me my
In the
hit?
beginning of the duration of what you're doing and you're enjoying it, some hiccups come at you.
Yeah.
Come your way. You enjoy fixing the problem. Until that dopamine reserve runs dry.
Yep. And then you got to go find somebody else who triggers another hit for you,
And
or something else.
You
who triggers
keep
another hit
doing
for
what
you.
you're
You
doing.
gotta push through that.
Now
I'm bored
you've
with this
kind
shit.
of created a habit of doing what you enjoy until it makes you mad. And as you do this for 21 days and longer, this is all that it takes to make a habit start to solidify. You gotta kind
21 days.
You kind of gotta stick to
3
anything
weeks, and you can
for
rebuild your
21
whole life.
days. Absolutely. While you sleep.
No shit.
Absolutely. Especially if you take yourself to that level and you get it. You take
I
yourself
believe in the power of
serious.
the mind, man.
You write your affirmations down. You record your own voice, listening to your own self. Tell yourself.
You can do this, bro. Stand in front of the mirror and hype yourself up.
Listening to your own voice. Who's been telling you you can't the whole time?
Right.
Sure, there's outside influence,
Fuck those guys.
but this is what is it? You've always got to stand guard down the hallways of your mind.
Okay.
We would all expect an enemy to kind of show up and slip poison in our food, try and hurt you. So when you see an enemy, you're on guard.
Right.
But that's not who we're always surrounded by. We're always surrounded by our friends and family who are unknowingly planting weeds of doubt, planting weeds in the garden.
This
that
is how they've
you.
always been, or this is something you always
All
do.
due to
Right.
their own experience of the past going on and them it not working out for them. So now I got to put my opinion on top of what might be unfolding for you, which would actually happen completely different because of how you look at it.
And I can't control it, so it pisses me off, and so or whatever. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, absolutely. So you want to
It gets very emotional when something didn't go the way I planned, and you're trying to do what I tried, and then
oh yeah.
either way, you're either going to have success and it's going to destroy me, or I'm going to try and keep you from
And this comes
having
back
that
around to
destroyed.
where we talk about learning lessons from everybody that we meet, right? Okay, so in the industry that
Absolutely.
I work in the automotive industry, and I work with a lot of guys who are older than me. Okay, and so you run into this. Oh, he's the young guy. What does he know? Well, the young guy's 33 years old. And he's been doing this for most of his life, right? So he knows a few things, and I might not know everything that you know though, because you're like 60 years old and you've been doing this your whole life. Here's the thing though,
We all
is
live
whenever
at a
I
personal
right,
touch.
whenever I show those guys a trick, there's one of two responses that happen. No, that's a bunch of bullshit. Or, wow, that's an amazing trick. And when one of those guys shows me a trick to make my job easier or something like that, there's one or two responses I can give them. Oh, that's stupid, or thank you for that. And it's like, okay, you want to
It's
like
the same.
it's
Right.
the same.
It's the same but different.
Just say thank you. Okay, at work, like, my response to something, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's something that's annoying me or if it's something really nice, or it doesn't matter what it is, I just say thank you. So, James, I need you to take care of this thing. Thank you. Or, hey, James, great job today. Thank you. James, you're dressed like shit today. Thank you. Just say thank you. You know what I
Taking
mean?
some constructive criticism.
Exactly.
and
Instead
kind
of letting
turning
it trigger you and make you negative, just say thank you. And then take a minute to walk away and think about what that person was trying to tell you. If that person's just an asshole, that's fine. Sometimes people are just assholes to you for some reason, okay? But
Well, that's really going to be how they
disengaging
started their day.
yes, absolutely.
And let's take a look at hopping into traffic. And you've started your day with annoyances
Right.
and frustration. Those are the two big doors, right? Annoyance and frustration. Whenever anything's kind of getting annoying and frustrating, those are the doors that will really get you into anger instantly, right?
And so, all right, we got to wrap it up. So next week we're back on next Thursday again. Okay, I've got some
6?
segments drawn. Yes, 6 o'clock. We're going to be on YouTube and we're going to be on Facebook, and we got a Twitch account that we're launching. And Twisted Apes Radio is helping us out with this. Coming up at Twisted Apes here in Colorado Springs, we've got the Goya Birthday Bash. That's actually tomorrow night at 8 p.m. It's $5 cover to get in. And then Mystic 7 with a twist from 8 to 11. Yeah? Is that what I'm reading right? That's at Twisted Apes. And then Sunday, February 7th, they're having the Super Bowl Sunday Fun Day. That's Sunday, February 7th. So make sure you guys come down. It's off of Platt and Boulder. Swing in, tip your bartender. Thank you so much to Twisted Apes Radio, Man Tools for helping us get all of this set up, all of our fans out there for listening. Next week, we're going to dive into a couple more of these things. I got some segments I think that are going to be really jazzy for us, man, that is really going to help this show take off. Send us your feedback. Send us an email, manufacturedrealityshow@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Watch us on Twitch. And we'll catch you guys next week. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Thank you guys, and thank everyone. Thank Twisted Apes. Thank you, man.
Good night.
Have a good one.